James, the board members that you had, if you can give a one, how did you find them? Two, profile, because if I'm on your board and you're having to raise $2 million a month because this thing takes a lot of work. The whole $24 million you were talking about, they said, well, we want you to stop raising money. How the hell do you want the company to run if we can't raise the money?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you bring these guys in, don't they have to be 100% locked in to realize who you are? Like, everybody knows, what you're going to do and what you're not going. You're an acorn guy. When you drop that whole acorn story, going to an event with an underage hooker that you showed up to as a pimp.
Awesome.
Like, yeah. Come on in. And I think you were with Breitbart at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So don't these guys who are part of your board members know who they have as the product that they're marketing?
The problem was nobody was willing to be on my board. The people that I trusted and respected the most said, I can't be on your board.
I got you.
Listen, I'll write you a $100,000 check.
I'm just not going to be on the board.
This is nonprofit, tax-deductible money.
Yeah.
Someone even wrote us a $500,000 check, but he says, I can't be on your board because it's too risky for me. The liabilities, Pat, of what I do approach infinity. I've been sued dozens of times. There's no, at least not yet, I hope to make it sustainable and profitable. There's no profit in this. You can't become wealthy doing this. Why? Because you get sued so much. And the legal fees on the balance sheet, the liabilities always outweigh the assets. So you have to be a little nuts, at least in the right way, to do this. You have to be.
You're fully not. No, you are. You're qualified
in
to be able
certain ways I am.
Yeah.
But the problem is if you self-interest is a very powerful motivator for people. And the instinct for self-preservation is extremely powerful. So when you get raided by the FBI, which we were in 2021, a year before this happened, and you're getting sued by everybody, the problem is if you're not messianic, if you're not mission-driven, corruption.
Why would you let them be on your board?
So that was my mistake. I did not discern this. And I had a founder's board. I knew these guys from 10 years prior, right? When I was scrapping, when I had nothing. And they were willing. So the mistake that I made is they were willing to be on the board. And I said, okay. And I couldn't find anybody. The hardest thing about
how many do you need?
What's that?
How many board members do you need?
501c3s require a minimum of 3, but you really should have 5 optically. Oversight.
How many did you have at the peak?
I had 3 at Project Veritas, 501c3, and then I had 3 at 501c4, and they combined the boards when they did this. They just put everyone on the same board.
So 6. That's an even number, though. Is it a 6 equal voting, or the one that votes on a 501c4 doesn't have influence over the 501c3?
There were only 3 board members when they did this, and it was a 2-to-1 vote. Just a 2-to-1 vote.
Who was the one?
Well, I was the third board member, so I was opposed, of course, to this. So it was Tiermond and Garvey, John Garvey. And then they combined the other board, which was George Skakel and Joe Barton and a man named Steve Olemic, who's now deceased.
So it became 4-to-1.
It became
5-to-1.
5-to-1.
Okay, so profile of those guys.
Excuse me, 4-to-2 when Steve Olemic voted against it.
He's the one that passed away.
Correct.
So he was with you.
He actually committed suicide. You can't make this stuff up. It was a 4-to-2 vote when they combined the boards and they voted to indefinitely suspend. Yeah.
He committed suicide?
Correct.
What was the timeline of when he committed suicide?
It was within the year after this happened.
And is there any stories of why he committed? Is it non-related to this event? This event caused so much trauma that he just didn't want to deal with it?
I don't know. It may be unrelated. I don't know.
Okay, maybe unrelated. Of the 4 board members that were against you, we just learned a little bit about Skakel. Can you tell us a little bit about the other 3?
Absolutely. And there should be some clips in this film to back up what I'm saying. As you know, I like to make factual statements. Matthew Tiermond was the number one orchestrator, the top guy. And you want to take you through a little bit of each of these guys. Matt Tiermond, I was on a boat in the Bahamas, Pat, about 8-9 years ago with a big supporter, big philanthropist. And he said to me, you have to be aware of this man. I said, why? He said, because this man is incredibly jealous of you, James. And he wants to be you. You need to get him off your board. Now, at the time, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, oh, what does that mean? He admires me? I didn't have any life experience to inform me what could happen to someone who wants to be you. But apparently, people saying this guy was very envious. He wanted to, to be me or to have what I have, whatever that. We could talk about that. That's Matthew Tiermont, the guy who orchestrated everything. And there are some insane, pornographic, obscene messages he sent me. Now, Matthew Tiermont was soliciting the board members to put money into his companies, that he was his for-profit Wall Street. He worked on Wall Street. He has an economics degree from the University of Chicago. His father was a famous Polish anti-communist dissident. A lot of these guys had fathers who were wealthy and famous. So one theory is that they lived in the shadow of their fathers. We could talk more about him in a minute. There's George Skakel, who we've been talking about. There's a man named Joseph Barton. There's federal deposition clips of him in the film. Joe Barton said some pretty crazy things in his deposition. He said, I'm not entitled to a private life. So these guys were publishing messages about my personal life with my girlfriend. There's a man named John Garvey who is about to be deposed. He hasn't yet been deposed. And then there's Steve Alembic, who committed suicide. Those are the board members.
Of the four, how many of them have you had communication with since they fired you?
These guys have been obsessively posting and tweeting on X about me nonstop for the last 2 years. Crazy stuff, demonic stuff. You wouldn't even believe me unless I pulled it up on the screen.
One of the ones, which one was the one that kept texting? He said, I love you. Listen, I feel so bad about what's going on. And then afterwards, you're a motherfucker, all this stuff. So how often did that happen? Was that board members or were those employees?
You're referring to in the film, these are some of the employees. Now again, at Project Veritas, people don't realize when I came on your show, we had like 65, 70 employees. That's a lot of people. And you saw about 12 or so were acting in this demonic way. You're referring to a couple of the younger employees who were behaving like this. So they came in the boardroom. They said, O'Keefe's a mean boss. He yelled at me one time. He's a power-drunk tyrant. And then a week later, they would send me an Instagram. I'm so sorry. I feel horrible for what I did. I never should have done this. And then like a few months later, they're calling me, I can't even say it on the air, but horrible, expletive words on the DMs. Hello, everyone. I'm James O'Keefe. Been doing this journalism thing for about 20 years. Truth, justice, exposing corruption, everything that comes along with it. If you want to connect with me, talk to me about any of this, you can connect with me through Minect. You can see the QR code below. Look forward to hearing from you.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.